Hi everyone, welcome to the weekly update with ITPro Today. I'm your host, Nicole Henderson. Today is the first day of February 2019, and we are talking all about money. That's right, we'll dig deep into Microsoft earnings with a special guest, Lisa Schmeiser, who's a content director at ITPro Today, and who has been following Microsoft's earnings quarter after quarter and has so much to share with all of us. Stay tuned for that.
Lisa, Microsoft announced earnings this week. What can we learn from what they've reported?
So there's a couple things going on that I think are of interest, both in reflecting what has happened for the company over the last few quarters and reflects Satya Nadella's really skillful execution of Microsoft's pivot away from desktop computing and operating systems as their bread and butter. I'll start with what they have been doing right and how that's reflected in the numbers. They have three divisions. Microsoft reports its revenue by three divisions: productivity and business processes, which encompasses their Office and Office commercial products and Office 365, plus their dynamic products, and LinkedIn. Their second division is Intelligent Cloud, which is where their Azure numbers live. And this is, you can track the growth of Azure's business by tracking the growth of their Intelligent Cloud numbers. And their third division, which is still their top moneymaker, is more personal computing. And in that division, you've got your Windows OEM, you've got Surface, you've got search advertising from Bing, you've got gaming. So what's important to note is that this quarter was the first quarter that productivity and business processes crossed the $9 billion mark for the first time. It clocked $10.1 billion in sales, which was a 12% rise in year over year. That's really strong growth for a business division that's basically got Office 365 powering it. And Office 365 was really good for the company in terms of commercial deployment. The revenue went up by 11% for Office commercial products in general, but what was driving the Office product revenue was Office 365 commercial revenue growth, which was up 34%. In other words, like it made a third more money than it did this time last year. There was tremendous product growth there. So that's something worth looking at. Microsoft's been very successful in moving its corporate customers over to Office 365. A lot of people like to focus on the Intelligent Cloud, which has had just tremendous growth over the last few years, and it clocked 20% rise in revenue year over year, driven by Azure revenue growth. Azure growth is beginning to slow down a bit. We're moving from quarters where revenue was basically doubling either quarter to quarter or year over year, and to a slower pace of growth. One of the things we have to look out for in the future is whether or not cloud providers are at capacity. If the cloud market is beginning to slow down, Azure may be an indicator that we're reaching saturation in the market and we're not going to see the same crazy growth, quarter over quarter, year over year that we've seen over the last few years. Finally, what I'd like to point out is in more personal computing, it is still Microsoft's top earning division. It clocks $13 billion in revenue this quarter. However, it did that mostly on the strength of Surface sales, which the revenue increased 39% year over year. What we're looking at with Microsoft is a company that I think in a lot of people's minds is still perceived as a consumer-facing company and is showing that a majority of its revenue is shifting over to the underpinnings of business that we may not see all the time, but we interface with daily, whether or not we're aware of them.
Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next week. We're here every Friday, so don't miss out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.